Hello. Happy Women Wednesday. I am making sure I am live in all the right spots. Hello, ladies. I'm so excited to be back. We have our Women Winning Wednesdays every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. I'm Lauren LC, your favorite gut bestie. I'm the founder of Revival, and I'm so privileged to be doing these words of wisdoms partnered with Do. Shout out to Leah J that provides our platform. We are live in multiple spot. So we are here on Clubhouse in Black Girls Club, as well as live in our Facebook group, on our YouTube channel, over in Her Bible. So I want to say, if you want to come on in and chat and talk to me, you can come over. The link is in the comments, in the description. If you are in our Facebook group or in our Revival community. But you can go to Black Girls Do and you can the wisdoms, because this is where I come on and I see everybody who's here. I open up the stage and we talk and have a conversation. I love words of wisdom. It's like the boost in the middle of the week. It's really a space where we just remind each other to keep winning, keep growing, keep celebrating your small wins, and give some words of wisdom to be able to continue to keep pushing you forward on your journey. So I like where everybody is seen and heard. So I'm going to give a shout out to the ladies here that is in our listening lounge over on Clubhouse. Hey, Anastasia, Rosalind. Ooh, that's my grandmother's name. Kamisha, Des, Latasha, Zoe, Danielle, Masu. I hope I said your name right. And Denise. Use the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I got a goodie today, y'all. I have some really good words of wisdom today to discuss and speak about authenticity. Um, I think it's important that we have that reminder often and really know that we got to hear often, because a lot of us who are like go-getter women, especially women of color, us as Black women, we're just always thriving, getting to the next win, and we don't take that time to celebrate our little wins, which is why in a Her Bible community we always have an intentional thread every week inside of our membership, inside the Her Bible app, where we share what is your wins, especially when it comes to your wellness and self-care. Sometimes we tie our being and our wins to like what we do in our careers or, things like that. And if we're not thriving or doing things in our careers, that's a big deal. It takes away of our character, who we are. And then that sometimes it starts to like chew up at us a little bit. And then we're not being authentic. We're not showing up authentically as ourselves. So the reason why I curate the Revival community is to remind women you are whole and complete of who you are, period. Throw the accolades to the side, take care of you, pour into you of everything of who you are. And that's where you flourish. That's where it overflows into your career. That's where it overflows into your ambitions, your dreams, not the other way around. You have to fill your cup fully and wholly first as you authentically show up in other spaces. So I like to use different conversations, and I'm always listening to like self-empowerment audios and all that stuff. So I thought that this conversation about being decisive of your authentic self, she is the president and minister of Wanga, and also is I think she's the president of Essence, Carolina Wanga. I really love her words of wisdom. So you might want to grab a pen because sometimes these words of wisdoms be getting to it. And then I'm going to open up the stage and have a conversation. Hey, Anna Marie. Hey, Diane. Hey, Comfort. Definitely use the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. So far, we got Danielle from Dallas, Denise from Florida. Hello. I am speaking to the people who are on Clubhouse. So if you want to join over in the Clubhouse, those who are in our Revival community, you can click that link and join on up if you want to be here. But I'm also seeing you. So wherever you're hearing me, definitely, comment in the chat. I'll be able to see and have a conversation. I like everybody to be seen and heard. It's really important. So let's get into these words of wisdom. If you are someone who sometimes you're literally like dancing in and out of being your full authentic self, sometimes you're questioning of who you are fully in your authentic self, I would love for you to put a me in the chat. I'm going to add that me right there, because there's times, just like what I said, when we're always like growing, especially with being growing and building a business, and it takes a lot of grit and wit and social media change. So many things are changing in this time, and you're always trying to keep up. And that has times where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. This is so much. And whenever I get in those moments, I always pause. I just take a moment to remind myself God has equipped me with any and everything I need, and the people who is supposed to help me to continue to catapult forward, or the voice, the conversations, the words of wisdoms that's going to fulfill me, to give me that momentum to keep pushing and show up for what I was called to do. So this is exactly why I like to have the words of wisdom. Comfort is all the way from the UK. All right, Anna Marie from the ATL. I'm tuning in from New York, so I don't think I said that before. But anyway, let's get to these words of wisdom because I want to open up the floor and have some conversation. So let's carry right into, make sure everything can be listened. And here we go.
That you're in to so many other girls out there who watch what you do, not necessarily what you say or write. They're now looking at you as a role model, and you're giving them courage to be their authentic selves. And it's hard. We all struggle with imposter syndrome.
Yep.
But really, what is the one takeaway, the one message that you want to give to them today?
So to your point, I used to sit and listen to these dynamic, inspirational women tell these stories of their achievements. And their stories were great, but they always told the story as if nothing bad happened. And so I would sit there and go, I wish I could be here, but like I failed 7 times this morning already. So clearly that's not what I'm going to be, right? I would remove myself from believing that what she represented was possible for me. But I promised myself that if I ever got to that place, I would tell the story as it happened, not the way I want it to be remembered. And so for me, the biggest piece of advice I would give based on what I lived, not what I read, is the earlier you can do three things, the better. The earlier you can pursue the purpose you were born to do on the world indignantly. I believe everybody has a purpose. You need to find it, because if you don't find it, nobody else can do it, and the world goes without. It's your obligation to the world. It's not your success. It's your obligation to the world. Find that thing. Number two, operate in who you are. Who you are is who you are. If you cannot be who you are, where you are, you change where you are, not who you are. And we're so indoctrinated to feel like the who is what has to change, when the where, and it could be a mental where, it could be a physical where, it could be a workplace where, it could be a life where, right? The where is what should be negotiable, not the who. Do not ever compromise that, because it's so hard to get back, right? It's so hard to get back. And then the third one that I would offer people is change your relationship with failure. Change your relationship with failure. We have been trained to avoid failure. And when it happens, cover it up as quickly as possible and hopeful nobody saw. My shift was giving myself a daily threshold for failure. I gave myself 5. The type A's pass out every time I say that. Pick 3. You'll be fine. But I changed my threshold with failure, and I said I get 5 fails every day. I get to decide what those fails are, and I don't get to make it a bad day until I hit 6. And what that did for me was, one, it gave me the opportunity to finish my day full of opportunities instead of being stuck at the 9 a.m. failure and missing everything else that could have happened that day, right? So I get to live my whole day. But the second thing that it did accidentally is, because I had this practice of 5 fails a day, even if I got mad about a failure, I moved through it faster because I knew I still had some in the bank. And what I became was one of the best at bouncing back. I became an expert in failure recovery because I would not ruminate and just you go, you go, you go. The bank was the reason why, but the skill that got built was this idea of I win in inches because I can bounce back faster than my opponent. And so those would be the 3 things I would say. Live an indignant, pursue your purpose. Don't stop till you find it, because the world needs it from you if you don't do it. Number 2, never change the who, change the where, and don't stop till you find the where your who is best. Number 3, build a threshold for failure in your life so that you don't miss the opportunities that come right after failure. And then that way you will become a failure recoverist, and that's the competitive advantage that helps you win.
That is priceless.
Woo! I hope y'all got that. I hope y'all got that, Jim. And if you didn't, it is recorded, so you can go back. I see your comments, Anne Marie. Yes, I love this. It's really important to remind these things. So I want to open up the floor. If you want to come on up and have some conversations of the aha, some things that really sat with you, as it resonated with you, put it in the chat if you can't talk. I understand it's the middle of the day. But I really, really love what she shared. So for those who were wondering who was the person talking, it's Caroline Wanga. She is the CEO and the Chief Growth Officer of Essence. She's the CEO of Essence and the chief growth for the CGO of Essence Ventures, and she does like a lot of different things. She's like the president of like the United Nations of Global Compact, like all these things. And I really, really love um, her poise for one, like what she really spoke on in that confidence. But I think it's very, very important, especially for the high achieving women, the overcoming perfectionists, those who are like got to feel like we got to go all or nothing type thing. And one of the things to be like so-called quote unquote perfect or get things right is failure. We have to, I love what she talked about, become an expert in failure recovery. So it is important that we do that. So definitely give your permission to fail. She says she gives herself permission for 5. And when she gets to 6, that's when she claims it's a bad day. One of my things I always say, because I definitely have moments where I'm like, oh, this is just trash. But I give myself grace and space to feel what I feel, because sometimes when we're feeling what I feel, when we're feeling a sense of doubt or imposter syndrome or all these things, if we lean into it a little more, sometimes we get to find something under there, right? It's not to like shun that feeling that you're feeling, but lean into it and embrace it. It could be your inner child needing some comfort, needing some reassurance. It could be so many things, just talking it out. It could be, really sitting down and game planning. It's so many things. So when certain feelings that come up that we don't like, and I know especially within the Black culture, we try to avoid all the bad feelings. We have this so-called push through type energy, right? Who knows about that push through energy? Like that, it's just like, oh, ain't no time to complain, ain't no sense of complaining, just go ahead and push through. This way what you have to do. But if we give ourselves some time, some space to lean into those feelings, without making it wrong, giving it so much power over you, and more so just listen to the feelings in a sense, and just thank it for being here. You don't have to unpack into those bad feelings of doubt, imposter syndrome, but it is okay to stop and have a conversation with that part of you that is having that doubt. But I think if we actually embrace failure and be okay with being the expert in failure recovery, and understand that we don't have to stay in this space of doubt. We don't have to stay in this space of imposter syndrome. We don't have to stay in this space that we messed up somewhere, we dropped the ball somewhere. We get to overcome it though. We get to recover from it. We get to praise ourselves of what's the things that we did do right from it. We get to embrace that it's a failure, and now you have a lesson from it. There's never failure. There's always lessons. You either learn or you win. No fail. That's one of the things. But I love what she speaks on in a sense of being like, okay, because she just said, like, she is the CEO of Essence and all the other accolades that this woman holds. Her story is pretty impactful. She got pregnant when she was like 17, and all these things that society may deem as a failure, but you can really shift and change your life. So I would love to hear some thoughts of y'all. I'm going to go ahead and read the comments of the things that I see here on Clubhouse. Anna Marie, Denise said, yes, that failure recovery heart, feel it. I love that when she said that. Anne Marie said, yes, lean into some of it because you can fix what you won't look at. There's power in self-awareness. Self-awareness creates change. Me, for those who don't know me, I'm like, my expertise is in gut health and mindfulness. So I utilize in the sense of implementing the power of mindfulness and self-awareness as a tool for stress management that can help to dysregulate your nervous system that's heightened from anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and burnout, and utilize the power of gut health. So if you want to learn more, I'll put a link in the chat where you can subscribe to the Her Bible community and learn about our mindfulness workshop that we have. We have it as the third Wednesday of every month, and I teach a lot about that. But what we're talking about with this self-awareness leaning in is a practice of mindfulness, right? there's so much power in mindfulness, and mindfulness is the power of just pausing, being assessive, like self-assess is what is happening in the present moment. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Like really taking the time to pause without like without literally making anything wrong, without deeming anything as an issue to yourself, or trying to fix something. Just being as it is an act of mindfulness. All right, Comfort Lee, I hope I say your name. I'm going to say Comfort. I love what she said about failure. I have been leaning into my mistakes lately and telling myself that they are a part of my growth. Yes, Comfort, I love that. And I love that I can recover from it because I can learn my lessons and build on that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So I think what it is, probably the school system. Where do y'all think for you? I would love to say, where did you think like the concept of failure being a bad thing came from for you? I would love to know. If you want to come on up and speak, go ahead and raise your hand. And let me know if the if you raise your hand and then I didn't see it, because Clubhouse be doing some weird things and I might have to like personally bring you up. But I think for me, I feel like the school system, you see grades, when you fail, you see stuff in red, and red, like that gives a sense of your sensory, a sense of like awareness, nervousness, like all of those things. Think about red light, pause, caution, danger, stop sign. When they put that, and it trains you. So when they put these bad grades, I don't know if they do it now today, the school system, everything is different, but for those who was going in school from before the 90s, I don't know nothing about the 2000s going on up, but before the 90s, the 80s, the 70s and beyond, I remember if I had a bad grade or any warnings or stuff like that, it was in red, and it just makes you feel like, oh, something's wrong, something's bad. And then we have this concept of failure being such a bad thing. However, it should have been, shaped and groomed as far as like, this is something to work on, something to pay attention to, and exactly what you said, Comfort, something to build on. All right. So Rosalind said, failure makes you go through what you need to grow through. 100. Drop a 100 emoji in the chat. Let me say that again. Failure makes you go through what you need to grow through. Come on, y'all. We in church on this Wednesday afternoon. Is very important. So like, just like any kind of spaces that I curate, is like we embrace we embrace and give ourselves grace in the sense of failure. We celebrate the wins that we have of who we are, and who we are is enough. Not as far as the accomplishments that we did. Do we celebrate our accomplishments? Absolutely. But we celebrate I got up today. We celebrate I made my bed today. We celebrate I took a shower. I took care of myself, my self-care. Because guess what? A lot of women who have a lot of roles, or someone who's going through very rough times, depression, or you're doing everything for the kids, sometimes those things don't get done. So that's why it's important that I always curate a community and a space where those things get celebrated first. All right. So if you're looking for a community of, thrivers, and those who are, continuing to embrace and give themselves grace and space on their wellness and self-care journey, and you want to be a community for that, go ahead. You can join. Hey, Jaleesa, you can join hervival.co/subscribe. So I'm going to put that in the chat. I mean, in the, what's this thing called? The pin link. I thought it was up there. So you can join and subscribe. We have every space possible for you to be a part of our community. We have a Facebook group. We also have a membership that is accessible via an app. So if you go to the app stores right now on Google and Apple, Google Play and Apple, you'll see the Hervival app right there. And you can join. Whoa, hey, Leah. Dang, girl, where you been at? It's good to see you. So we were coming on. Hey, it's good to see your face. So we were coming on talking about words of wisdom. We were talking about authenticity. I shared a clip from the CEO of Essence, Carolyn Wanga, and we talked about becoming a master at failure recovery. And she talked about she gave herself 5 failures that she can have in a day, because there ain't no such thing as being perfect. But giving herself 5 failures a day, when she gets to 6, then that's when she'll say, oh, I'm having a bad day. Because sometimes one thing will go wrong, one person will get on your nerves, and you just be like, oh, I'm having a bad day. One of my things that I try to have as a mindset recourse correct, is a matter of that I'm having a character building day, or I'm just having a moment, oh, I will get through this and do. But I would love to know if y'all want to share, Lisa, Leah, of what's your relationship with failure and how you embrace it.
Oh, who's going first? First of all, good morning, y'all. Good afternoon. Yes, Laura and Lisa, I have not been on this app in I don't know however long, but thank you so much for holding down for BGD in general. I see y'all doing y'all big ones on here, so I want to take my hats off to you and just say you are still celebrating Black women in action and really being consistent and showing up on this app. What was the question again? See, I started rambling.
No. Thank you. I appreciate the flowers. As far as how do you embrace failure?
Oh wow. Okay, so I'm gonna do some selfish promo real quick, but also tied into embracing failure. So I don't know, Delisa or Lauren, if you all are aware, we have started back doing events under Black Girls Do, celebrating Black women in action. And so just recently, we hosted an event called V-Files, Untold Stories, in which I decided that we, or in general, should create a space in where we are uncensored and sharing our experiences through the different journeys of womanhood, sex, sexuality, and mother-daughter dynamics. So we hosted that. I thought it was going to be a failure, y'all. Seriously, I thought no one was going to show up, or I thought that people would just be so afraid to really share their personal stories. But when I say I didn't realize the power of community, in which we sold out that event and people were so uncensored. These women, who some of them I didn't know, one, thank you for the space, and then two, they just really shared why this was needed and why they showed up for this particular series under BGD. And so what I thought would be a failure, because I thought the community was going to be shy away from, it was something that was needed. And so with that being said, I was able to say, okay, sometimes it's all in our head. Oh Lord, I'm outside, y'all. It's real.
You good? We can hear you.
But sometimes the failure can be all in your head, or it can just be that dreaded imposter syndrome, and it's telling you what you're not capable of doing. And so we discount ourselves a lot. And so when you are leading with purpose and you're one of those people who want to create an impactful or be the impact in which you want to see, you'll never be a failure at what it is that you want to do. And so that was a little spill with that. And then too, can I say something else? All right. And so then I was like, well, they was like, so is this happening again? I was like, yes, we'll have it in January. But I put out a call to action for now. We can show up in these spaces, but how are we giving back to the community? And so that's something extremely important that I emphasize, Lauren, Delisa as well. I love giving back to the community. And so part 2 of that conversation was implementing a feminine hygiene product drive, in which we'll be soliciting donations in November. So make sure you all stay tuned to at Black Girls Do on Instagram. Follow us. Send me a note. Send Delisa. Send Lauren. And really realize that we are not just on these apps. I'm really making sure that we are creating local impact, community impact, digitally, but in real life. That is it.
Yes, I love it. So many amazing things that's happening, and I love what you shared, Leah, as far as it's just, it creeps up. It's a common thing. That imposter syndrome continues to show. And I love, like you said, you didn't even think where something was going to work out, and it still did. And listen, y'all, everything that Black girls do is like what Leah is talking about. And for those who don't know, Leah is the founder of Black Girls Do. And this is why we love to partner with someone like this, because we want someone that is putting themselves forward to always be able to support and elevate and help the community to be able to grow and thrive. So I love all the amazing things that you're doing. Salute, hats off, all praises. Put the hearts in the chat just to give some love to Leah J, because she is doing the thing. We have conversations behind the scenes. This stuff is not easy. It comes with failure, but when you're called to what you're supposed to do, it just will work out. Sometimes it's a matter if it's something, certain things don't work out, it's a matter of just going back to the drawing board and say, what didn't show up. And I'm going to go back to what Rosalind said, where she said failure makes you go through what you need to grow through. I love that. Jaleesa, what ways are you embracing failure? I would love to know if you can talk.
Yes. So literally, I was just journaling about this week, because a lot of times the things that keep us stuck or that keep us in a place that we are things that are in our mind, whether it's fear, doubt, insecurity. Like, we literally have everything that we need in order to succeed within us, but we allow past experiences, we allow trauma, we allow generational things to come up in our lives and dictate how we move forward. So for me, it's been realizing that I can reframe failures as lessons, as redirections, to know that I'm always moving forward in the right direction. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it doesn't seem like it, even if things are happening in my life that literally try to break me, like, I can literally still move forward and know that I'm headed in the right direction. And even if I'm not, I can always pivot. I can always change directions. I can always choose something different. So for me, I've been able to reframe failure into something different, that it's a lesson, that it's a blessing, that it's something that is redirecting me to the right path, or the path that I desire to be on. Like, failure used to be something that paralyzed me. Fear, doubt, insecurity, imposter syndrome, those things used to literally cause me to break, cause me to be paralyzed, cause me to be stuck. But more recently, Lauren, you know that my little brother was shot and killed. And one of the things that my therapist told me, she said, what would it look like for you to continue to live on and bear his legacy and shine his light? What would he want you to do? And that, for me, helped me to shake this idea that I failed my brother, that I failed my family because I didn't protect my little brother. And it was like, yo, like, seeing it from that perspective. And also, she shared with me, she said, death is as natural as life. We have to learn to embrace the things like failure, like death, those things as natural. It's natural for us to not succeed the first time. It's natural for us to start a business and it not work out the way that we desire, because we're learning, we're growing, we're moving forward. Don't look at failure as something that is going to stop you, or that causes you to be paralyzed. Allow it to help you to move forward and live the life that you dream and you desire. It might not look or feel the way that you want it to, but you're continuing to move forward, even if it looks and feels like this. I'm complete.
Ooh, I love that. If that connected with y'all, put your favorite emoji in the chat. Jaleesa, again, my condolence to you, sis. I already know. Jaleesa is actually a thriving, reviving hervivor inside of our membership. And, we have spaces in our communities where we have hold space. We always pouring into each other, evolving, growing, sharing, because, like I said, our primary focus is taking care of our wellness, our well-being, our mental wellness, our self-care. So I already am familiar with that, but I'm here in front of everyone publicly to just say, I send my condolence to you. And I always admire and give you your flowers for the way you continue to show up. One of the things I love that you said is that you reframe failure. And that's what the CEO of Essence was talking about, as far as, like, become an expert at your recovery, your failure recovery. But I love what you said. Even if I'm not, like, even if you're not succeeding, I can always pivot. Snap, snap, snap. It's very true. You totally can shift change pivot around what you need. And sometimes it's okay to not be okay. I'm in therapy, and I love when my therapist always says that. Like, it's okay to just have moments where you're not feeling good about it. Just don't unpack there. Just assess, see what you need, see what needs to grow. What did you learn? Like, for me, how I reframe failure is there's no such thing. It really isn't, because like, it's not a bad thing per se. It's a learning lesson. It's something that I now have. Failure is like an asset that you can truly have, because when you learn that something didn't go right, you now know how to like not go through that again. Or sometimes we do keep going through failure. How many of y'all be knowing that you fail? You know you be setting yourself up for failure and keep going, but you now have data, especially like in business or just anything, like, if you, whatever, if you're trying to exercise and you're doing it in the morning, sometimes you're going to have to push through the failure. Sometimes you're going to have to, like, in order to grow, you have to be able to endure a little bit of discomfort. You have to stretch yourself. But for me, how I reframe failure is a matter that it's just learning. I either win or I learn. There's no losing, period. So I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. These are words of wisdom. We're here every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Again, follow Black Girls Do on Clubhouse. You heard Leah J. We got some things coming in the works. So definitely learn more. Leah, is there anything else that you want to say as far as where the ladies can go to learn more? I know there's the Facebook group as far as everything that Black Girls Do is doing right now.
Just follow us on Instagram at Black Girls Do. You'll also be able to see some snippets of this past weekend's event, and then everything else that we'll be implementing or putting into action in terms of a call to action for our community members. And just keep being you, living in your authentic selves, and just sharing community and space, and offering grace and words of wisdom, and showing up for one another. That's all I can ask for.
Love it. Thank you. Delisa, I'm cracking up at your comment, but this is so true. She said, like, failure is like a boogeyman that once you shine a light on it, you realize it really doesn't exist. How about that? Yes. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm gonna adapt with that. So we're gonna close out here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Again, follow Black Girls Do. Follow Black Girls Do on Instagram. Follow Hervival. We're on the social media platforms. On Instagram, we're Hervival, HERVIVAL_. And again, if you need support on your wellness journey, I'm all things wellness, self-care. My expertise is in gut health and mindfulness, so they call me the gut health bestie. I'm Lauren LC. I thank you so much. Leah, again, I'm so happy to see that you popped up here. Thank you for creating a space like this. Because it's needed, especially within the Black women community. We need to see and hear conversations like this where people seem to think like, oh, y'all doing the things, and we go through all the challenges, the failures, and things like that too. And it's important to have safe and cultivated spaces where we could have these type of conversations of what's coming up and what we go through so we can be able to grow through. All right. Love y'all. Have a good one. I'll talk to y'all soon.